Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, we talk about all things homesteading, homemaking, and just the journey to a slower, more simple life. So we are now officially in September, which is crazy how fast the whole year has flew by. But that to me means we are now transitioning from summer into autumn. I definitely love autumn just like most people do, and it is so beautiful here where I am. Vermont gets a lot of good credit for their beautiful autumn, which I've never been to Vermont actually, but from what I've seen it's true. But if you don't know about Maine's autumns and the foliage that we have here, it is absolutely breathtaking, beautiful. But although it is not officially actually autumn yet, that is not until the 21st, I believe, this year, I am still going to kind of start transitioning into autumn mode. And a big part of that for me, as somebody who likes to take care of the home and make everything so nice, is kind of redecorating a little bit, transition things from summer decor to autumn decor. So today I am planning to clean a little bit, tidy things up, and then put away all of the summer stuff and put out all of the autumn stuff. So that should be a nice little thing for us to do. But before that, I want to show you something that definitely will make you think of autumn, but I am so proud of. So let's go look. Da, 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 da. These are the first 3 pumpkins that I have grown. So like I've said in a previous video, they are a smaller variety. They are about 6 pounds, I'd say. But look how beautiful. And they're known for being a very delicious pumpkin, so I'm excited to try it. I have them out curing in the sun to try to help them last longer. The best way to cure a pumpkin is just to have it out in like high 70s, 80-degree weather and just in the sun. That will help strengthen it in a way that makes it last longer without having to preserve it right away. We definitely have more growing as well. There's one that's starting to turn orange. And here's another one that I've recently pollinated that you can see is getting big. And we have a lot more. I think that one's all good and pollinated. That looks big. Like it's growing. But what I'm trying to say is we have more on the way. So hopefully we will get more. I'm sure we'll get more, but hopefully we get a good amount more before the frost, which usually I would say is early October. It's usually right around my birthday, which is the 6th of October, is typically around when the first frost will be here. So that's usually like the second week. Funny enough, the day that I'm choosing to decorate and get ready for autumn is like the highest temperature day of the year for us here. It is saying that it is like a record heat. It's gonna be a high of 88 today at like 2, which to me sounds completely unbearably hot. I know for some that is not even close to some of the hottest temperatures that you get, but I'm not built like that. I like my coldness, but in a way that's kind of nice too, because I will be inside out of the heat doing what I am doing, opposed to a day thinking I'm gonna do some garden work or something. So we're going to start off by cleaning surfaces, just cleaning things down, because it's always good to, actually clean before redecorating, reorganizing, because why not? When you're pulling things out and changing things up, might as well make things clean. And of course, this is when I'm going to show you my all-purpose cleaner spray, and it's nothing fancy. It is literally 1 part white distilled vinegar to 3 parts just water, and it works really well. I also put a little lemon juice in mine, but you can put a few drops of essential oil of some kind or leave it whatever, but it works really well on pretty much everything I can think of. It doesn't do like a super deep clean super well, like say if you're deep cleaning the oven or something, it helps. But other than that, I literally can't think of anything this isn't great with. Surfaces, windows, I always use this for the countertops, for the stovetop, so easy peasy. And you know what's in it. That's a big thing. I'm not a fan of cleaners at all. Ever since I was little, I couldn't even walk down the cleaner aisle with my mom in the grocery store because just the smells and all that overwhelmed me. I'm not sure why, but I've always just hated it for that reason, and then now with knowledge, also I'm like weary of things that have weird stuff in it. So I'm going to clean down the surfaces, and then we'll meet up for when we're putting the autumnal decor out. All right, as you can see here, we have many different fall blankets. So I just got these out of storage, so I'm gonna be putting away the more summery ones. Yellow to me is definitely an autumn fall color as well as a summer color, but with so many different options to choose from, I'm sure I'll probably change this out and put it in storage. Let's get folding and deciding where we're gonna put things.
So complacent, never repay your payment. Oh God, you're amazing. Sometimes I get so impatient.
We are opening the fall tote, so let's see what we got in here to work with, and then let's decorate.
So I'll just be waiting. In my deep darkness, you are the light. Lord, you deserve all the worship and praise.
Hello guys, I am out here early the next morning just harvesting some things. I got some beans in my hand, but let me show you just how many cucumbers I got this morning. This is what we have for cucumbers today. So I think this means we'll have to do some pickles today because I don't think there's any way I will be able to eat all these cucumbers. And we have more pumpkins coming. There's so many female blossoms now. Just a little bit ago it was an issue that I only had male blossoms and no females were ready yet. And now it's the opposite. I have lots of female blossoms but almost no males. I did have a couple, so I did get them pollinated, I think. But it's funny how it flip-flops like that. And we have our first blushing tomato almost ready, and our paste tomatoes as well, our Amish paste, doing nicely. Also, I just want to show you, look at the size of some of these tomatoes coming on. It is such a perfect temperature right now this morning. It is about 7 o'clock now, and it's just a little dewy, a little breezy, but not super cold. It's just perfect. The sun isn't really up high yet, and it's not very hot, and that's how I like it. But this morning I want to show you a project that has been in the works that I am very, very, very excited about. So I will give you a little sneak peek of what we got going so far on that. Beautiful sunshine. As you can see in the distance there, we got posts. They're not in how they're going to be, they're just in to make sure the hole doesn't fall. But we got these 4x4 by 12 feet, cut them in half so that they're 6 feet, and we're using a gas auger The gas auger is working really well, but we have a super, like there's just one. We've only done 2 so far. Super, super rocky. But the plan is to auger down and put all the posts in, cement it, and then we're gonna have a fence the whole perimeter here. Yeah, there's another rock that was in the way earlier. Super beautiful sun. But so that is an exciting project that we are hoping to get all done before it gets cold this fall. So that way we have an established permanent fence to keep deer and other things out. I will say a deer, if it wanted to, could probably jump the fence to the height that we're doing if it really wanted to. But where we are in this area, they have a lot to pick from, and I haven't had any issues since I've put up the makeshift fence. I haven't had any issues with a deer at all, and they could definitely jump this fence. It's pretty short and very flimsy, so if they wanted to, they could definitely get in here, but they haven't. It's a good enough deterrent for them. But with that big of a space fenced in, that gives me the opportunity to plan and think of more garden beds to be put in for next year. I'm already thinking I want to do a raspberry patch. I won't be able to get anything off of it next year because it usually takes 2 years at least before you really get raspberries. But I'm just already thinking of what I can do with the space. But it's going to be a bit of a project. If you're not familiar with Maine's terrain, it is very, very rocky, so it makes anything that involves digging or putting up posts or anything like that more difficult than you'd like it to be. But I will definitely keep you in the loop with that project because I'm just really excited about it. So I have all the cucumbers here that I need to do something with. I'm thinking pickles, but first I'm just gonna get started this morning on biscuits, cheesy biscuits, and I'm gonna have tomato soup. This is gonna be for a lunch to dinner meal, but I wanna get it all good and going now just so that it's done. So we're gonna do 4 cups of flour for our biscuits, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of baking powder. And then let's just mix those dry ingredients together nicely. Now, this is one of not too many recipes that you actually want to keep the butter really nice and cold. You could even stick it in the freezer for a few minutes because we want it to stay in like chunks. So it takes 3/4 of a cup of butter. So I'm going to chop up my butter into cubes. Also, my oven is preheating to 425 as I'm doing this, so that will be ready. Now we're adding the butter to our bowl, nice and dispersed. And we're also adding 1.5 cups of milk. Give this a mix. And now I'm just getting in there with my hand to give it a good mix. I'm probably going to add a little more flour to it to make it a little less sticky. Okay, now that we got a nice dough, I have grated some different cheeses. I use both cheddar and Parmesan just because I like that. And I'd say it's about 1/2 cup. I didn't measure, but I'm going to add the cheese into the dough a little bit at a time and then kind of mix it in. So I'm just going to mix it in a little bit at a time and then add some more. We have our pan already greased with butter, and so after I add this cheese in, I'm going to make it into a bunch of little biscuit balls, and then we'll pop it right in the oven. We're going to let it cook in the oven for about 25 minutes or until the biscuits are kind of a nice golden brown color on top. So this is what you want your biscuits to look like, and you might think otherwise because as you can see there are just like huge chunks of butter visible, but I promise that's exactly what you want for this recipe. So let's go ahead and put this in the oven. And 25. Perfect. Okay, so now it is time for us to get started on our tomato soup. I'm going to put about 4 tablespoons of butter at the bottom of my pot that I have here. And I'm going to cut up 2 yellow onions, and we're going to caramelize those. Into those onions, I'm going to add a tablespoon of garlic. So we're just going to really let those onions cook down before we move to our next steps. Now that these have been cooked down quite a bit, I'm going to pop open my homemade canned chicken broth. There we go. And I'm going to use 2 cups of this. I'm going to open a thing of whole peeled tomatoes. And I'm going to dump these in, giving them a little bit of a crush as I do it, but it doesn't matter a whole lot because I am going to use my immersion blender for this. That's what happens. I don't know why I didn't put my apron on. I always am forgetting my apron. Oh well. Now we're going to get our immersion blender all set up and plugged in. If you don't have an immersion blender, you can certainly throw this in a regular blender or a food processor to get the job done as well. So now that I got it most of the way blended, I am going to add some extra tomato juice to it as well. Not sure exactly how much, maybe about half. I think I'm going to add half. And that was a 64 fluid ounce container, so I added 32 ounces. That was pretty good math. Now I am going to add a few tablespoons of dry basil. If I had fresh basil, I would do that, but I do not. So I'm going to use dry. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons. Then of course some salt and pepper. A tablespoon of sugar to cut the acidity just a little bit. And let's give that a little bit of a mix. Oh, that looks beautiful. And my last ingredient is going to be a half cup of heavy whipping cream. I'm going to just put the rest of that in there. There's not much left. Just to make it nice and creamy. Okay, let's see about taste testing. That's very good. I think I personally want more tomato taste. So I think I'm going to add some more tomato juice to mine. But if you would like a less acidity, a less very tomatoey taste, and more of a smooth, creamy taste, I think this would be perfect. I'm just wanting a little bit more of a punch, so I'm going to add some more. And I guess I didn't even really add half last time. It's almost half, but I added a little bit less than half. That is about 2/3, I think, of 64 ounces. I'm not going to divide that by 3 right now. That's perfect. So good. That'll be so good with those cheese biscuits. I cannot wait. Let me give you a close-up on how this looks, just so you can also see and start getting your taste buds excited. There is our tomato soup. Nice and creamy. I'll show you what the meal looks like all put together. I'm so excited to eat. It's going to be delicious, I know it. And what a perfect recipe for going into autumn, I think, because autumn is all about soups and stews and nice, warm, hearty meals. So I do hope you try it for yourself. It is very easy, for sure. I think I'm going to leave this video there. I got a lot of cleaning up to do in the kitchen, and I think next time you join me, I will be making some different kinds of pickles, I believe. So if you enjoyed this type of content and would like to come back for more, please consider subscribing so that you will be notified when I post a new video. And I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye!